升中国人民警察警旗，奏唱中国人民警察警歌。
Now we are going to raise the national flag of Chinese flag of the public service and public security. Now we are going to proceed into the warring session. We are going to invite all the national heroes and also Mr. Liu Zhongyi from the Ministry of Public Security, who is also the head of the National Defense Force, to start the warring session. Here I vowed. I became a part of the police force of the People's Republic of China voluntarily, and I am also contributing myself to the protection of public security. We are determined to be faithful and committed to our party and to provide the service to the general public, to conduct a fair and transparent public security service to all walks of life, and we are going to be the constructors of the socialism with Chinese characteristics. We are also going to defend the stability of the whole society, guaranteeing the well-being of the general public, and we are also going to promote the fairness and transparency in the society by Liu Zhongyi. Now the voting ceremony has finished. Dear comrades, under the leadership of the CPC's Central Party and Comrade Xi Jinping, we are going to celebrate the National Police Force Day and uptaking the spirit of the 15th plenary sessions of NPC. We are also going to implement the legal thinkings of General Secretary Xi Jinping and also his note on the meetings of the police force across the nation. We are also going to intensify the full awareness, and we are also going to be confident about ourselves, our party, our nation, and also the general public. We are also going to follow a very strict disciplines to undertake our responsibilities, to work and move forward with a trailblazing spirit, to shoulder the responsibilities entrusted by the party and the people, to protect the society, and we are also going to witness the celebrations of the 100 years anniversary of CPC. Now we finish the flag raising ceremony.
好的，各位直播间的网友们，大家好；各位民生粉和咱们央视新闻的网友们，大家好。那么今天呢
Dear viewers, with our live streaming platform, today we celebrate the first nationwide Police Force Day, and we have celebrated the 5th Professional Day after the doctors, nurses, and also the teachers. I'm here and interviewing with the special forces of the Ministry of Public Health. We could see that all these special forces is actually undertaking special missions. And I think today we are here to be joined by Mr. Li Zhonghua, who is the head of this special force. Can you give us a brief introduction of what kind of training we are conducting right now? This is actually the daily equipment of the anti-terrorism trainings and also for the special forces. Today we have to conduct this training here because it's a really meaningful day. We are celebrating the first National Police Force Day, and according to the requirement of the Ministry of Public Security, every year actually for the special forces of the public security, we maintained for around 180 days special training. Every day, we have a training plan for each members of our special force. After they get into work, without animation, they are going to start the training. For this training, it is a necessity for their daily training. This is what we call 100 meters running session. We are only going to show you a part of their training session. So we have already started to show you. And in the winter, because some of the training session cannot be shown to you, this is what we call a training for the workings of the soft net, and it's a very good training for their sense of balance. Although today is quite cold, we could see the special forces and also the members of the special forces actually underwent very strict trainings. We train them in the coldest winter and in the warmest summer in order to strengthen their spirit. They have already been the best players in their university, and after the professional training and the targeted training, they are going to finish their special training here. This is what we called. And we are also going to witness this policeman to climb this 50-meter rope. And every day, we are going to witness this special sliding from the top of the building. And we are actually mimicking if there is any emergency that they need to drop down from 4 meters. This is what we call a regular training for all of the police forces. We could see there is a special small team here. Can you tell me which part of this training belongs to? This is what we call a training exercise to enable the special forces to stabilize the public security. Under what circumstances are we going to apply this special exercise to? I think it's about for the community-related work task. It is actually designed to intensify their ability to coordinate it. We want to train that all the policemen to have a very coordinated spirit, even if we are tackling with a community-based requirement. and currently they are actually they are actually standing in one line. And we also have some of the wordings reminding that what does they need, or do they need to, how do they face in front of a crowd. This is actually the basic training for the stabilizing forces. We also have a coordinated training sessions for several different sub-teams. This is what we call a double shield. Now they came back to the one lining. We have trained them about this special coordinated session because we are actually trying to mimic what is happening when there are some of the crowdings or other different disasters. We actually going to dispel any terrorist if the terrorist is mixed within the crowds. This is actually a inter-training for the forces. This is actually the special trainings for the different guns. So we are here to be joined by Mr. Hao. So here I'm actually seeing a robot. Can you give me an introduction of this robot? This robot is being designed by ourselves. It has the functions of detection and also corruptions. Under the severe circumstances, or if the criminals have some of the explosive together with us, we are going to adopt these robots to monitor it from the backbench. Later on, I'm going to show you how to run this robot, and because here we have placed some of the guns here, it is going to replace the special force and shoot the criminal. We can also shoot the criminal in the backbench computer. So we could also see there are some of the belts connected to that. There are also 360-degree cameras for detection. So you could see all the views are being taken in this computer. It is also going to be turned by 360 degrees. And if we detected something not regular, we are going to target the criminals, and we are also going to start the shooting here by a single click of the button. Let's witness the moving of this computer, but it actually looks like a small tank. It also moves really fast, and it can also turn its directions. Here we are going to see what is happening in the real sites. We can also turn the different angles, right to left, upward to downward. It actually protected the safety of the special forces. This is a very rare equipment. There are not so many police forces equipped with the special robots because this robot has been designed by ourselves. So that's the reason why security and safety for the city living is actually all comes from the public forces. Let's move forward to see other different special equipments. This is a really long gun. This is actually the highest. This is actually the rifles with the highest precision in our country. It actually have a range of 80 meters, but it can target the people or the target for the distance of 3 kilometers. It actually, for the police forces, after a really long trainings, they can shoot for the toothpaste, even if they are at 100 meters distance. But that is actually the final requirement. It's not the result for everyone. So there are not so many different rifles. There are not so many police forces. Actually, in our team, we have 8 police forces, and every day we guarantee that 2 of them is working with us. This is actually a rifle with a precise shooting range of around 400 meters. This is actually the number 95 rifle equipped with a special course. It has 38 different equipments with it. It can work by single shoot, and also it can produce double shoots. This is actually an explanationary system designed by our team, because for this long gun, it actually can kill 3 people in one shoot at 30 meters. And it's very easy for this rifle to harm the innocent. That is the reason why we have added this part of the equipment. We have added a stabilizer to place the long rifles. On top of that, it is also going to reduce the harm, reduce the side harms. This is what we call a turning operation system. You could see there is a camera here. Through this screen, you could see the angles. And we can actually turn the gun into another direction. And we can also view the different criminals at the different angles. And if there is any criminals, it is also going to trigger the screens. Once you click the screen, the gun is going to shoot automatically. So by its maximum, it is going to reduce the harm and also protect the police officer. So can you hear that we did not fill in? So for example, if there is something on the other side, we are going to shoot it. To happy to use it at the night time, we have also added a light touch. This is what we see in the movie. So during the nights, it's also aggregate the human eyes. So once we have opened up the light for 3 to 5 seconds, the criminals is not going to be able to have a clear sight with 3 to 5 seconds. It's also going to increase the stability and decrease the damage we created. This is what we call the laser gun. We are going to put the laser gun targeting the criminal's eyes. This is what we call a number 91 gun. This is what we have equipped in our daily life. There are some cases inside. This is actually our radar, which can run through the different walls. If we are witnessing some of the criminals indoor, we can attach this radar on the wall to figure out how many criminals are inside the room. And the criminal's figure is going to be demonstrated through this screen. And without moving the screen, we can actually check how many criminals are inside. So the numbers of the criminals is going to be demonstrated here, and we are also going to see the different 3 parts. And we are also going to have a exercise for the 3-dimensional views about the criminals, and it actually helps us to better detect where the criminal lies inside the rooms. It's just like when we are going to, if we know the criminals are in some of the rooms, but we don't know how many of them are inside, but through these equipments, we are going to find out the different criminals. This is actually a night viewing equipment, helping us to monitor the views. We usually use it at the night time, and this camera can only be used at the dark time. This is actually a helmet, liberating our arm, but it's also helping us to shoot. What's its function? It is also being used at night. This is actually a double-eyed helmet. This is an endoscope. This is actually a camera. So if we want to have a detection of what's inside the room, we can actually slice the camera inside, and it's also going to help us have a better viewing. This is actually a small ball-shaped detector. It can be used. This is actually its opening equipment. So no matter which angle that I throw it, it's also going to stand still. But here you have a very little camera so you could see that the camera is going to stand still and shoot the image for us to collect. No matter which angle do we throw it, they are full of the cameras equipped, and it can also turn itself in the complicated environment, in the small environment. These are some of the real treasure equipments that we have not viewed. This is what we call a rapid upriser, and also it's going to raise our police force to the high sky, and we can actually monitor it by our hands. And if some of the police forces want to climb a building without any ladders, this climber is going to help our special force. But sometimes the police forces might need to cling to the rope by two hands. So if their two hands are clinging to the rope, how will they catch the criminal and shoot the criminal? This is a very useful equipment. If they carry them, it is going to help them with their shooting. Although this is a very special equipment, but it has a lot of function. There are so many different equipments. Here it is actually the climbing, and here is actually the declimbing. We need to cling it to the rope for us to better understand the environment. We also need the joint effort from our group. This is actually a bulletproof shield. We have the bulletproof protective suits. This is actually the bulletproof shield. It's made by polymer. This is a fully protective bulletproof clothes. So we are using to wear a small vest to protect the central part. But here we have also added some of the arm protector and also the neck protector. We have also increased the leg protector. It has a larger space for protection, and according to the severities of the battle, we are also going to add another layer of the ceramic protective equipment. Protective clothes is actually one of the major equipments that we are adopting when we are in a fight against the criminals. This is actually a light-weighted, protective, bulletproof vest. It weighs less than 1.5 kilograms. This is actually a bulletproof helmet. And here we also have the night viewer attached with it. We have also added some of the warnings. For those who are in the battlefield, if one group of them is winning out, they are going to turn up the light by actually turning up this warming light. The members of the team will understand what is happening. This is our self-developed, rapid, protective, bulletproof vest. We can actually also put some of the other different equipments. Some people want to put the guns at their pockets. Some people want to put their guns with their waist. So this is actually a self-developed. And if necessary, we can also put the guns in front of our chest. We have also hanged other different materials or equipments together with this protective, bulletproof vest. This is actually being used for the outdoor or field operation when we are going to climb to the different buildings. Let's look at what's inside a place's pocket. This is what we are using to fix ourselves in the wall. And this is actually what we are using to clinch to the wall. All kinds of the different ropes. So what's the difference between these different colors of the rope? This is actually used for the declimbings, and this is actually one set of the equipments, and it's also going to be assembled together when it is being operated on site. We also need a rope to climb, and we are also going to apply this together with that climbing equipment. Sometimes we need to enter into the household through the windows, not through the front door. That's the reason why we are going to combine the usage of the climbers and also the rope. This is also an explosive detector. We are also going to detect the amount of the explosive on the site to figure out how much of the volume of the explosive. This detector actually can check 36 different types of the explosives. This is actually a sound wave dispeller. Very unpleasant sound, right? So this is actually a directional sound dispeller, and I'm actually standing behind it. I cannot hear the sound, but it is only used to irritate those who are in front of it. This is actually a hydraulic pressure cutter, and it's also being adopted and widely used in the firefighters. It is actually used to cut the other different metallurgical materials, such as if the household has a protective door, we are going to use this hydraulic cutter to cut the irons and steels, and we have also been applying these equipments when we are trying to fight against the earthquake, to use this hydraulic cutter to cut a lot of the steels and to get the people outside of the earthquake. This is actually the professional shield. This is actually equipment that we are adopting to the handicapping activities in the bus. If there's any criminals who have trapped all the different civilians in the bus, we are going to use this set of the equipment. I think once the two sides is actually clapping with each other, we are going to see the special needles coming out. It's actually helping us to break up the bus. There is also a ladder here to be clinched to the bus. It actually is going to help us to crack any glass materials, even if it's in a bus. This is what we are using to break a door. So we have seen a lot in the movies, and for one of that, it weighs 10 kilograms. So I can see that you have moved it up by one catch. I think it's quite light, but actually it's very heavy. It's used to break a door if a children is kidnapped with inside. We are also going to see it is actually working in all kinds of different doors. But I think our special forces needs a special training to break the door, to adopt these equipment. You think it's very light, but when you are trained about the usage of these equipment, you need to understand where the force goes into. This is an important shield. So what's the difference between these two shields? For this shield, it has an electronic pausing function, and this shield can also generating green lights, irritating the criminal's eyes, and it can also send some of the electronic signals. I'm not targeting this shield towards you. Otherwise, you are going to faint within 3 to 5 seconds. And we are also going to use the 3 to 5 seconds to rush into them. I'm actually opening it, and if you touch it with a knife, if the criminal is held a knife, we are going to attach this shield, because the electronic signal is going to be transferred from our shield to the knife, and the criminal is going to be electronically shocked. This is a really eye-opening training session, and we have seen a lot of special equipment. Thank you very much for joining with us. We could see that on these sides, I believe all the special forces is gathered here to celebrate this National Police Day and their own holiday. They are going to have a special ceremony to revow their commitment to the police force and also the general public when they entered the Ministry of Public Security. Dear comrades, today is the first National Police Day, and on August the 28th of 2020, President Xi Jinping has entrusted the flag of the police force to all of our colleagues. And since that, every year on the 10th of the January, we are going to celebrate the National Police Festival. And we have our flag for the first time. We also have our festival for the first time. In this divine festival, we are going to continue to commit ourselves to the party and to the general public. We are going to be loyal to the party. We are going to protect the general public. We are also going to follow the discipline. Let's reward once again for the commitment that we have sworn when we were joining the public force. So here I vow that I became a member of the public security force of the People's Republic of China voluntarily. And I'm working on this honorable cause of the public security. I'm determined to be loyal to the party, to serve and protect our people, to conduct the legal work in a fairness manner, and to follow the strict discipline until the end of my day. And I'm also going to be a contributor to the socialist work of the People's Republic of China. I'm also going to stabilize the whole society, promote fairness and equity in the society, protect the general public. That is my vow. So here we could see this honorable vowing ceremony. It reminds me that in the past 1 year, the public security forces has contributed their sweat and blood. And if we look back to the past years, the public security forces actually protect us. And later on, we are going to have a very close look to the day-to-day patrol of the special force. I'm going to catch up a special patrol vehicle to have a side understanding of their daily operation. And what kind of activity are they going to monitor and maintain on the street? It actually reminds me of one word. There's no stability and there's no peace coming from nowhere. It's actually some people protect us. Let's look at the special vehicle for the special force. This vehicle has a lot of functions. We are also going to invite some of our colleagues from the police force to give us a very detailed introduction. So can you tell me what's inside this special vehicle? The PTU, Police Force Patrol Vehicle. So good morning. I'm actually working for the special force of the Zhengzhou People's Public Security Bureau. This is actually a special patrol force. I'm the head of this vehicle and head of this team, and this is my driver. So can you tell me, what kind of the criminal activities do we work on? We are undertaking a lot of missions to patrol the main lines and also the side lines and also the main street and also the back street of the city. We are actually trying to crack down all kinds of the criminal behaviors and also terrorist behaviors to deal with any outbreaks on the street. No matter what kind of the activities do we control on, and once there is any outbreak, we are going to went there. Do we have a stational position? Actually, for each one of the group, they have their relevant position. And they are actually working on a diameter of 15 kilometers. I also believe if the general public has any difficulties, they can ask for our help. And we are actually receiving the help. We are receiving the helping requirement for the general public. If there is a missing kid, a fire in their household, and if there is somebody's vehicle being stolen, you can also get in touch with us. We are also treating it as a major equipment. We actually trying to protect the general public with our whole heart. Are there any things impresses you most? Yes. A few days ago, there is a very rapid dropping of the climate and also the temperature. Many of the elderly people actually falls down on the street and they cannot climb and stand back. And actually there is a lot of people who is knocking on our vehicles and doors, and we are trying to transcend the elderly people to the hospital. So here I kindly remind all the general public that it is quite cold and please do not go to the outdoors and protect yourself and be aware of the sleepy route. So after listening to police officers, I could feel that even if they are working on the terrorist activities, they still believe serving the general public is the very root of their mission. And sometimes, if there is acute disease for some of the kids, they can also even provide the professional help. Because I've been working in the police force for decades of the years, we believe the general target of what we are seeing in us is that they would really want to see a police force protecting their life and also their possessions. That is our initial purpose for being a policeman, to protect the vulnerable people. Today you celebrate your holiday. It's a really exciting holiday. On behalf of all my colleagues in my team, I want to thank the CBC and also the General Secretariat for giving me this special festival. Based on this special festival, we are going to intensify our service awareness, and we are also going to work hard to crack the criminals. Can you tell us and share with us a heartwarming stories? I still remember that during the college entrance days, we are actually protecting and working in some of the key schools. Some of the students and also their parents is actually going to give us the bottled waters to ease us from that sweating summer. Especially when we are all wetted. Some of the students, after their college entrance examinations, they are going to give us their wet tissues to help us and to cool us down. That is a really heartwarming moment. We are going to show you one important district of our city. There are a lot of human traffic there, and there are also so many different internet celebrities live streaming there. It is actually the CBD of Zhengzhou City. We could have a very good view of the city of Zhengzhou. We are actually driving on a very important main pedestrian route of Zhengzhou City. It is the weekend and the traffic volume is growing quite rapidly. I think this is only one position. We have followed the requirement and also the traffic route according to the time. And we are working 24/7 to support and protect the general public.
咱们窗外的一个情况。
这是我们的车载数据传输系统。
This is actually the
对，车内
car-loaded data transferring
我
system.
刚才看到这个咱们
It can monitor the situation inside and outside of the vehicle. There are other different equipments. Can you give me a general introduction?
一个移动巡逻
The vehicle, to put it in our word, it is a portable
的操控平台，
patrolling
在车的后备箱放着所有
vessels.
回车的
In front of that, it is our operation platform, and at its back, we have stored all kinds of the protective guns and equipments,
盔、防爆头盔
the protective shields, protective vest, and also
车兵。
the
你就像我们在我们的这个巡区
vessels
按照
to
我们的这个配置
break
回车的
down
配
the
置如果在我们的巡区
door, and we have equipped it with that. If there is anything break
甚至
out
是室外的
in
游泳
our
我们一定要
patrolling
提供
areas,
救和救生圈
and we have also equipped it with the swimming
这个
circles
为民服务。
其实您
in order to
看到这个后备箱
better service the general public.
对对对对。
So, without mentioning, I did not see that you have lined the back bench of the vehicle
啊，对对对。
in a such precise manner. We have arranged that part according to the usage of the police force. It is also a very important training item.
也是我们支
And
队
what
的
you have
大
seen
先锋
and what you have taken right now, it is also what we call the pioneering patrol vehicle for our
相对
team.
而言固定，因为随着这个不同的
It
任务
has been working on a fixed position in a relevant manner according to the different task missions and according to the different conditions of the requirement. We are going to adjust the tuning of it and what we called, and we should also
操作流程、
require the unity between the vehicle and also the police force and also the gun.
见过哇，这个好高大上的这样的一个警车，但是没有从内部
I have
而
never
且现在
been
最
inside this vehicle before. I only seen it on the roads.
包括这个车载装备
And one thing quite exciting is that for the car-loaded
世
system,
界上领先的。
it has been produced domestically by 100%, and we are also leading in this field.
大家
And we are about to arrive to our destiny,
国警官
which is also a very well-known CBD area. We are going to see how police officer Mr. Wu and his
巡逻模式
uh,
是
colleague is going to tackle against this scenario.
重点部位
Generally speaking, for the first 40 times of our patrollings, we are going to dispatch some of the special forces to this densely populated area. And later on, if there's something special being discovered, we are going to dispatch them. We have also generated a working plan to fight against the criminals in a close manner.
欢迎大家来到安徽池州的人民警察节的活动现场。
Welcome to the special activities in Anhui and Chizhou. I'm with CMG, and I'm also going to witness the group forces for the Chizhou. And here we are going to witness the open days for the police force in Anhui Chizhou. Today we celebrate the first National Police Day, and when we have talked about the policeman, I think across every household, we are reminded by our parents that if you have anything difficult on the road, you are going to find a police officer. And I think this sense of the security toward the police forces has been intensified once again. It is a very rare occasion which is related to the police forces, and it's actually a Sunday that they never retired. There are still 2,000 of the Chizhou policemen in the Chizhou city who are still working on their positions. So here we like to congratulate all of these police forces who are working on their post. We have invited Mr. Gao Shan, the level 4 counselor of the Chizhou's police team of the transportation, to have the live streaming together with us. Gao Shan, this is also a very rare day for all of you. I've been working in the police force for 10 years. It's actually the first time that we have celebrated the International Police Day. It's actually the festival for the police force for the People's Republic of China.
尤其是国家给我们中国人民警察设立的这样一个节日，我觉得身上的责任和担当很重。
We actually want to thank the People's Republic of China for the support. We are not going to betray the entrust by the general public. So here I'm going to introduce you what kind of activities, what kind of open day do we open to the public. And in Chizhou, we are actually celebrating a special activities to report to the public. We could see that there is a lot of public citizens in Chizhou City. Through this open day, we are going to enable more people to understand the understanding of the People's Police Day. So here we actually have a very hands-on experience with the DUIs. So actually the police forces and also the general public has changed their roles. There are several different representatives. A lot of people from the public service understand that through these mutual changing activities, we are going to have a very clear understanding of the daily activities for the public police. I think the police force of the transportation get in touch with the public in their on the streets. Actually, our understanding with the public health has been a very close one, and we all know that DUI is a quite common activity we are witnessing every day. It's actually, but it's also a very severe activity. Through these interactions, what do you work on? This is actually something that we might happen when we are trying to find some people committed with DUIs. Sometimes they don't understand us and they want to run away. Recently, we actually have one of these cases when a citizen trying to run from the police, and when the police was issuing a DUI ticket for him. To put it simply, the harm of the DUI is not only about the citizens themselves. It is not towards, it is not going to generate some of the harm to the driver themselves. It's also posing the damage to anybody else on the road quite difficult. After so many years of the public education, even if we have included the DUI into the law, are there any improvements? After we have included the DUI into the laws, I find the general public has a growing awareness of the DUI. We actually understand that the majority of the general public is going to find a segregate driver to replace them. And it's also going to help our activity. This is actually a checking process. At the initial stage, we are going to conduct the inhalation for the first. Let's see this modulating scenarios. This is actually some of the representatives from the general public, and also we have been inviting some of the citizens to join with us to celebrate this special National Police Day together with us.
好，其实这个我看到，其实我们还看到这边就是我们的这个铁骑交警，是吧？
对，是的，这也是为了这个创新勤务模式啊。
This is what we called the Iron Police Force. We have formed this Iron Police Force.
铁骑交警其实很多的市民最大的印象是帅气，非常帅，英姿飒爽。
是的。
So the general public only have the understanding that our chivalry force is quite dashing, but we are still need to consider all kinds of the environment. I think we are working on a multiple work front. They have arrived for the first time in a very rapid manner. This kind of outbreak is actually when the police force has arrived on sites. There are also other different incremental police forces, and what is? So this is actually a civilian who is actually playing the police force's role. Let's have an interview with him. So how can I address you? So my name is Hui. I'm actually working as a real estate agent. So what kind of activity did you participate in? I'm actually participating in the DUI funds. What kind of role did you play? I'm working as a police officer. So how do you feel about that? After the round of filling, I could feel that the work for the police forces and also the public services is very difficult. Today we have celebrated the National Police Day. How do you feel about that? National People's Police Day. How do you feel about that? This year is actually the first National People's Police Day, and we have understand that more and more people has emphasized about the professions. It's also going to change my awareness of the people's the public security. I'm going to help them, and I'm also going to be a very law-abiding citizens since today's activity. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you very much for your time. And this is actually general public slogans in the police bureaus of the Chizhou city, and on that it has summarized all the works of the police of the Chizhou Police Force, and it actually introduces what they have done during the past 1 year. Through this open day to the public, it enables the general public to understand us better and deeper. And it's also going to introduce to the general public about our daily life, and they are also going to be more supportive to our police-related activities. We have actually mimic what do we deal with, and there might be some of the misunderstandings. But in a quite rare case, we also want to tell everybody that no matter what kind of activities do we work on, we are actually working on the life and health for the general public. Dear viewers, I'm actually in the bureaus of the plague force of the Chizhou City in Anhui Province. We have entered into their public security buildings. I'm going to enter into the East floor to have a very clear view about their East floors and also the transportation centers. Let's look at how the intellectual brains works for this city. Actually, we have been talking that science is going to revolutionize the way the general public and also the police force has done. The science do accelerate and helps us when we are trying to provide a better police service to the general public. And I think later on we are going to have a very good understanding of the city's brain. At the very beginning of this live streaming, you've been mentioning to me that you've been working for 10 years. For the past 10 years. After 10 years, what is the difference between that when you were starting your journey? I think the biggest change is that the people's awareness toward the police force. So we have been entered into the transportation monitoring center of Chizhou's Public Service Bureau. I believe the general public who has been watching that offline, watching that on the site is also gathered here together with us. These screens is actually the live streaming image of what is happening on every single roads and interactions of Chizhou Chizhou City. Every day, how many of the transportation police working on the sites? We have the morning rushes and also the evening rushes. Apart from the cities, we also have the rural areas. So what kind of activity do we show to the general public? It's actually a self-developing software system for the police stations of the Chizhou public. How do we better detect what is happening on the highway? How do we better inform the citizens? I think we have came up with the state-of-art technological systems.
好，我们来看一下哈，那这就是我们各个主城区的路面是吧？我们现在到这一侧，我们看到这个整个路面上。
This is actually what we can monitoring on the roads.
在这儿做的主要工作是什么？
Every day in the monitoring center,
除了这个接触警之外，
the workers is actually working here
情况下达这个相关的指令，
and they also monitor what is happening on the roads.
去研究啊。
At the same time, they also receive the the directions from the other different parties. I think the police forces who've been working externally is going to enter into this. This is actually the cerebral, the brain for the traffic. And they actually going to give the directions at 24/7. I actually believe that today you are going to give me an introduction of one of your colleagues who's an IT professional. I'm going to give you an introduction who is one of our celebrity, Police Officer Chen, who have formed our first police station and police studio after his name. All of these state-of-art system has been developed by him. An IT police officer. He is also working together with us. So by working together with us, we could see many of the police officers has been working on the streets or on the roads, but he is actually working in front of a computer to develop all kinds of softwares.
就是有点出镜头是吗？但我看着我觉得陈警官这么帅，那这样吧，陈警官来跟我们央视新闻的网友先来打个招呼。
So let me have a very let me interview Police Officer Chen. Can you give us a brief introduction? So I'm actually from the police station, and so today my major work is actually working on the IT system. And I'm also providing the state-of-art informations to the frontline police officers with the support of your technological brains. It's also going to smooth the traffic for the city. I'm working on this direction. I'm trying our best to have a sense of all the traffic volumes on the roads and also the difficulties when you are traveling on the roads. And we are also trying to figure out the best methods, the most adaptive methods to address the questions, and also before the live streaming. You have also mentioned that you are going to demonstrate some of the state-of-art software that you have been researching on. So can you show us
好了，您带我们
here?
看一下。
So let me demonstrate you through this computer. This is actually the software system that has been developed by me.
团务感
This is actually a smoke detector on the highways. We all know that during the winter time, the smoke and also the fog are quite common weather happening on the highways. The clouds of the smoke is going to happen on the route. All of a sudden, on the highways, it's just like, for the drivers, it's just like they are climbing into the cloud of smoke, even if they are actually driving on the street. I think this is actually the reason for the smoke to creating a lot of damage. Actually, to address it, in order to deploy it, we have considered all the resources that we have on the high roads. In order to tackle against the mist, we have deployed a lot of weather sensors to sense about the visibility.
比如说车子停下来，还有呢
They can also sense
人工
the
巡查的
abnormal
基于数据
on the
分析的
roads.
就是车子在相邻的
We
高速
also
卡
have
点
a
之间
lot
速
of
度异
data
常的变大
analyzing
出现这种情况，一般
on
情
the
况下路
related
面上就有
routes.
情况了。
Sometimes
速度
the
全部都
vehicle
变慢了，
has
要不
been
就是
especially
要不就是施工。
late. Sometimes
配合这些前端检测，
the
我们可以
if
感
there
知
is
到
something
前面
missed,
路面上
it
发
is
生了
going to
误
slow
或者
down the
发生了
driving
其他事
speed.
件。在经人
Through
工
this
互认之
method,
后，
we are going to
可以开始
understand
综
what
合
is
发布
happening
就
in
是
front of us.
在沿线
We are also going
进
to
入
publish
事件区
the
的
up-to-date
前10
information
到20公里
to the
处
drivers
是
and
多数的
remind the drivers there's
是
actually going
发
to
布
be a mist
做高音
in
频
front of them
发布
for
和那个
10 kilometers or
路灯
20
后面
kilometers.
就务必提示
And
到驾
we
驶
are
人
going
员
to
让
remind
他
the
们有心理准
drivers
备
to
另
open
外，我
up
们也
their
联系
light
了运
for
营
the
商，采取
mist.
区域过境的
And
通知的方式，
we have also
让
working
一车
together
子所有的
with
人
the
哪怕是
telecommunication
就是
operator
乘坐人员，
to
他
make
也
sure
知
that
道
all the
前面
people
有
on the
实际驾驶
vehicle,
驾驶人
even
员
if
让
they
他
are
有心理准
still
备。另外，
they are
高德
actually
百度互联网公司，我们
sitting
也
on the
联系了
vehicle
就是
to have a better
在
understanding.
互联网地图
Actually,
上
we
面
have
会
also
贴
get
出
in
这个
touch
事件点。
with Baidu
如果还未出行
.com
的，它
and
在规划
also
路线的时候会提示他绕行。如果已经出
Gaode.com.
行无法避
They
开
are
的，
going
高德
to
百度也
remind
会
the
通知他
drivers
离团务
if
区
they
还有多少
cannot
公里，
avoid
给他一
it.
个提前的准备时间。
And also Gaode map is going to remind how many miles are they are they away from this mist.
一般
It's also
进
going
入
to
团务
help them
区
to
事故
avoid
的最大
the
隐患也就是驾乘人员的慌乱。
confusions of the
所以
trafficking.
我们现
I
在
think
就是
when the
务必
driver
让驾乘
entered
人员
into
知
the
道是什么
mist,
情况，要让他了解到是什么情况，也要
they
让
are
他
going
知
to
道他自己
understand.
要做什么，
I think their
这样子他
shock
有准
and
备
their
进入团务
anxiety
区
would be
效果就会好
the
很多。
major reason for the any traffic accident. By better protecting by better awareing them, it is also going to let them calm down. We estimated that we are going to launch this system
我们
officially
希望它能
this
起到这个
month.
作用。目前我们的工程技术人员正在
We
进行
also
一些
hope that
调
this
试
system
就
can
包
work
括
really
要
well.
素检测啊之类的。
And currently, we are actually conducting a final round of testing, and
过程就根据
it's also
出
going
现的问
to
题
let us
强
to
化里
see
面
a
的
really
bug，
long
我们在不断地做
tuning session. And if there is any bug, we are trying to check the bug and also debug before we officially launch it.
那除了这个
We are also going to witness a secure and more guaranteed
高手段，
大货车缉拿手段其实是根据我们支队的情况做的。
那大货车缉拿像我们的网友
according to the different scenarios of our team. Can you give us a brief introduction of what we are doing here? What is the illegal activities? What kind of illegal activity do we work on? We have some the pre-alarming system.
这个可能是对于咱们这个就是说
This is actually a systematic
缉拿一些违规行为者的过程中，
behavior. So for the public,
货车这边
for the
货车
police
大部分都是专业
officers
驾驶
working on the transportation,
他们在路面上
I
真正
believe
遇
for
到
all the
的
trucks,
就是
they
我
are
们
the
遇到的
professional
大量
truck
的违法行
drivers.
为是什么呢？是肆意的去
The majority of their illegal
因为
behavior
货车在主
is
区人口密
that
集区，
they
它肆意的
ride
出行
the
影响是很
truck
大的，所
to
以我
every
们就做了这套
direction
东
they
西。
want.
这套东西
For
说
the,
是
if the
抓
truck
拍，
can
实际
actually
上
drive
太
on the
不太
densely
那个
populated
确
area,
切。实际上它是一个
we don't
分
actually
析的
allow them. We did not
分
catch
析的
them
系
on
统，它
site.
是把所有的
It
货车
is
轨迹
actually
进
a
行综合分
analyzing
析，
system
然后匹
to
配我们的
protect
货车管理，就允
all
许
the
它出行的
different
区域，
past
然后进行
driving
一个
history
适
of
配
the
结合
truck.
之后，进行
And
一
we
个
are also
取
going
样，
to
就是
assign them
把那些
after
没有
the
按照它报行
first
或者说应
stage
该通行的
sampling
路线时
based
间
on the
去通
previous
行的车辆
behavior.
给它提取出
We
来。
are going to
提取出来这
predict
些车
what
实际上
kind of a
就是
vehicle,
正常的
where
让
will
我们
the
的交通
truck
隐患
driving
一样
into.
我们对它进行处罚。
And we are
更
also
重要
going
的
to
是
send
告诫
these
他
trucks
就是希望他
the
不要再
warnings.
有这样的行为。另外
Of course,
配合这一
one
块
thing quite
就是说
important
为了
is
躲避这个
to
它有好多
tell
遮挡
them
套牌或者
to
说
avoid
套牌的
this kind of
所
a
以我们也做了一个基
behavior
于识别的，就是假套
in the
牌的
future.
系统。就是我
We have
们
also
其实是可以
done
不根据
an
号牌来
We
检
have
测这
also
辆车
came up with an
说了这么多咱们的这些高科技，有没有
recognition system
违法
with
行为人说的
so
话？
many high-tech equipped?
对违法行为人想说的话，
What do you, what kind of, are there anything you want to say to the
经过
lawbreakers?
层层的研究的，
So how should I
它有它的
put
合
it?
理性。
I think the setting up of the transportation law has went through many different times. I hope that all of you could abide by the transportation law,
道路出行会更加和谐，
so
更加
please
安定。
avoid the risk. It is also going to harmonize the traffic road.
不光是
Just
不仅
as
是说像常务感知系
Police
统
Officer Chen has
这样
reminded
的
us,
一些安全的
we
隐患
are
存
not,
在当然我
we
们
have
对
not
于一些
talking
违法
about
行为人的
the
一些
smoke
跟进
censoring
到
system.
一些新的技
We
术
are
手段
also
的这个
going
跟
to
进
have a
和
very
新手段
good
的更新，
record
其实也
of
是
all
为
the
了 告
lawbreakers.
诉大家尽量就是杜绝这些
It's
违法行
actually
为，减少违法行为，所有
Going
的都是
to
在路面
remind
上
you
遵纪
to
守法的
avoid
行驶，
all
对
of
吧？
these
这样的
lawbreakers
守法的形式
to
也是为了
abide
让
by
我
the
们
law on
所
the
有路
road.
面的这种交通参与人能够
It's also
更加
going
的这个
to
安全。
enable all the
跳
participants
出刚刚
to
您的这个
enjoy a
专业，我想
better
问问您，
and
您从警
healthy
多少年了？
我从警10年了，
您也是10
life.
年了。
So how many
那今天对于
years
您来
have been
说
you
有什么特
working
别
on the police force?
今
I've
天
been working for 10
今
years.
天就是好多人
Is
都在
today
庆
quite special for
这
you?
过节了，就是
Many of
少有的
the
感觉到
friends
自
is
己
congratulating me.
做这一行的荣耀。
It's
因
a
为我们
very
本身
rare
就在这一
occasion.
行正常也是看不
I
见我们。
feel that
就
I'm
像
really
是一个
honored
假警
to
察
be a police
但今
officer
天
because I'm
也
not
感觉
working
到
on the
自
roads.
己
Sometimes
这
I'm
个这个行业
thinking
的
that I'm
重要
not a real police
后
officer.
面还得
But
继
today
续
I'm
好
being
好努力赚钱。
congratulated by many friends. I can feel the importance of my work and I'm going to continue to do my best to serve the people.
激动这种，
So I can feel the
谢谢
pride
您，谢谢
in
您，谢
your
谢陈
eyes.
警官。那好，那我
Thank
们
you.
再来刚刚回
Thank
到
you
高
very
刚
much,
这边
Police
哈，刚
Officer
刚
Chen.
高山警官呢，在刚刚直播
Let's
过程
came
中也
back
告诉我们说，他是做
to
这个交警
Police
从
Officer
警
高山。
有10年的时间了。其实，在这几天，像我在当地直播踩点
They
的过
have
程中，我
all
也
been
了解到，其实
working
高山
in
不
the
仅仅他
police
自己是一个民警，他
station
的
for
爱
10
人也
years.
是一名
During
人民
my
警
live
察，所以是
streaming,
一个双职工的家庭。
I understand
我也
that
在
Police Officer
采访过
Gao
程中从
Shan
他那了解
is
到
actually
作为一个双
a
职工
policeman and her husband is also a police officer. So as
会有
a
很多的一些放弃，因为更多的时间会在岗位上。
family who has two police officers is actually going to create a lot of
特别难的时候，可能就是对孩子，
difficulties.
因为
Are there any difficulties? We both the father and me feel quite sorry for the children. I'm not a very obligable mother. Sometimes when I want to work, I'm going to throw up the kids and I do not take enough care of my kids.
不是像大家想的那么轻松吧？还有就是很多加班加点的时候。
So I'm actually working on the publicity field.
您的爱人也是一名警察，能告诉我们您的爱人是具体从事什么样的一个岗位？
我的爱人他
Which position do you
因为在基层
husband
一线
working
在
on
对，在
as a police officer?
对，经常的加班要处理交通
He's
事
actually working in the front line of the villages on the rural area.
这样的话，你是在
Sometimes he cannot get back on time. You are promoting the professions of the police officer, and he's actually working on the front line.
队应该还有不少。
对我们像我一样的是很
And I still think there are so many of you in our team.
那
And it's actually including me and other different public officers.
查缉酒驾现场我们认识的一个胡建胡队长，他也是在我们
And there is also a police officer, Mr. who is actually working on the front line.
哦，您今天也把他那个请到现场。
Police officer
他介绍给我们，
who's together with us today.
他也是很辛苦
I
在
actually
我
want to
们主城区
introduce
执勤
him to all the viewers who's here together with us.
好那
He's
这个
actually
是我
working
们
on the patrol
一大队
in the
中队的中队长胡建
public
胡队
area.
胡队，你好，你好，我们
This
央
is
视新闻
actually
正在
Mr.
直播哈，
Hu
就打扰您了
from the
像 问问您从警
first team of the police officers. How many years have you been working as a police officer? For 13 years.
您的岗位一直是在路面执勤吗？
对，我之前从
So have you always been working on the road? Yes.
工作过。
I've been working in the police stations.
交警队岗位进来。
In 2014, I became a police officer for the transportation. This year actually marks the 7th year. After I'm here, for the past 7 years, I'm working on the road management. For this part, every day I'm conducting a daily patrolling and operation. Apart from what you have mentioned, before becoming a police officer in the public security, you've been working as a police officer for many years. I believe that although you are working on the different genres, but you share the same name of a police officer. Yes. There are many friends and colleagues and also family members who have congratulated me on a happy National People's Police Day. I can feel the warmth. I feel the findings of the National Police Day is not only giving me a very good sense of belonging, it also intensified our sense of responsibility. At the same time, I can feel that the responsibilities on my shoulder is actually becoming heavier, and I'm also going to work and be a better police officer. You've been working on the road for many years. You are talking to the drivers and also talking to the general public. Are there anything that impresses you most? When working on the route, I'm actually working from morning to night to deal with all kinds of different drivers and communicating with them. There are many different drivers. Sometimes, from misunderstanding at the very beginning, or angries, or accusations, we encounter them for many times. At the very beginning, I'm also quite confused. Because when I'm working in the police station, sometimes I'm actually facing the criminals. It's not dealing with the driver at the forefront. So the way we talked to them actually changed. I learned a lot of communication technique through a strict enforcement of law and through the practice. I talked to them patiently to get their support. We find that as long as we could do a good job, as long as we could use the law to tell a good story, I think the majority of them is going to understand me. Although at the very beginning, they might quarrel with us or accuse us, but later on, through our patient explanations, many of the drivers, even after we have fined them, they actually leave our contact, and also they are trying to ask us to help them in the future. It makes us feel that we are changing our rules from the managers of the public transportation to the friends of the drivers. I can feel the harmony between the police officers and also the general public. This is a very good trend. Just as Mr. Hu has mentioned to us, during his practice in the law, he could also see the changes of the participation. Actually, at the same time, 365 days of the year, the policemen are together with us. In 2020, Anhui Province has encountered a heavy flood, and many of the police officers has been working at the front line of the flood. And Mr. Hu, our police officer Hu, has also carrying the sandbag to the bank and to prevent the flooding. So I believe the frontline police officer is really working hard. So on this special day of National People's Police, for the National People's Police, we really want to thank them for their stickness to their position. We like to pay tributes to all the police officers. Thank you very much. So now I'd like to hang this live streaming to the signals to our colleagues in Guangdong. Dear viewers, I'm Chen Li with the CCTV and also CGTN. Today is the 10th of January, and we are also celebrating the first National People's Police Day. To celebrate today, the Guangzhou police officer is going to have an opening day for the where I'm staying here. We don't know what is the origins of the National Police Day. It is related to the Guangzhou city. You might be familiar with the 110, the police officer's telephone number. Actually, the 110 has been first founded here in Guangzhou. So to celebrate the National Police Day, National People's Police Day, the Guangzhou Police Bureau is going to have an opening day. So to let you have a better experience, we have invited a special guest joining together with us, Police Officer Luo. So congratulations, thank you. I also want to thank the viewers across the countries and also my colleagues for the police forces across the country. A happy National People's Police Day, and we have understand this is actually the most grand celebrations. Can you give us what is going to be included in today's celebration? we have conducted these celebrations in the Tianhe district of Guangzhou City. We have set up different exhibition areas. On every single site, we have also set up our own station. That is how we are going to enable all the viewers and all the family members to have a clear and better taste of this atmosphere. I think there is a lot of audience who is waiting in line to enter into all kinds of the open day content. What kind of highlights are we going to experience on today's events? There are so many highlights. Compared with the open days, we contained a lot of high techs. This is also a major part for the innovation. We understand that before the live streaming, there are helicopters hanging the national flag and also the flag for the police forces who've been running through these exhibitions. Let's play a short video clips about that thing. The helicopter has been hanging the police flag for the first time. We believe that this helicopter is a helicopter with multiple function who can undertake 10 people, 10 police officers inside. It can patrol the whole Guangzhou city within 30 minutes. We have conducted a testing that if using a police vehicle, it actually takes 10 to 15 minutes. But for one police helicopter, it takes around 2 minutes. Police helicopter has a wider range of observation. It can also arrive in cliffs and mountain tops where people cannot arrive. It has unique advantages in terms of safety and practical usage. So what is on the image is another special demonstrations of the patrolling abilities. This is actually the police motors in the Guangzhou city on the right side. We've been driving. There are 4 different drivers. They have comes from the motoring team from the Guangzhou police force. Currently, they are working on a heat-up session. They are trying to circle the different curves, and here I think later on we are going to demonstrate you the same direction circling and also the snake-shaped circling. And I believe all the drivers is going to change their direction with a 9 different stages. It is a very good demonstration to the teamwork and also the flexibilities. I believe the motorbike that they are driving is quite different from the motorbike that we have ridden every day, right? We are using these petrol motor vehicles to open up the road. I believe that they must have a very mature awareness. So here I want to remind all the viewers, these are the professional drivers. Do not follow up their behavior. I don't think the general public can actually follow up their behavior, right? I think we've been working on that at the Huanan Street of Guangzhou province. At that time, there is an ambulance who was trying to transport a patient with hypertension to the hospital. And that's the reason why we have adopted the police motoring team to open up the road for these motor drivers. Are they frequently used? Generally speaking, they have a very stable demonstration. For all of them, the 4 police officers we are seeing here, they have a very unique activity. They are the 4 police officers who are the best players and also the Gold Award winners for the World Police Officer Day and also World Police Officer Competition. So on top of the Pearl River, we are going to see a drill of the police helicopter. We are going to let the cameraman to lead you to live streaming what is happening on the Pearl River. This is actually a drill between the sky and water. We have included 3 different parts: special forces, and also the helicopter drivers. We have included 5 different helicopters, 5 ships, and also what is in front of us, who is actually leading the team, is number Yang Cheng. The vehicle has around 48 meters, and it is being followed by number Nanshan. It is having a smaller size compared with, and I think all the helicopters is actually flying on a lower height, and our special force is going to drive the helicopter on top of the vehicle. There are 2 special forces who is going to protect this landing. And we could also see the speedboat or the yacht who's working on the water. There are also single driving speed vehicle who is responsible for the patrollings of the small scale of the water, and they could also work on the watery rescue activities. For this comprehensive drill between water and sky, what kind of role is it going to play? I think we have the sub-bureau of the watery areas. They've been really playing a role in protecting the national positions and also people's lives. We have cracked down on some of the transnational drug trafficking team, and we have also working on the smuggling team and cracking down some of the smuggling team. I believe this is a really exciting drill, and I have been witnessing these sites with a real excitement. Today the temperature is quite low. It is only around 9 degrees centigrade. In order to give you and demonstrating you a very good picture, our police officer is actually really working hard. Although the chill weather is not affecting their demonstration of their skills, fully equipped with their passion, they are demonstrating you the result for their yearly practice. I believe our viewers through this planning is going to be excited by this camera. This is only a part of these open days in Guangzhou. There are so many exciting demonstrations waiting for us. We are going to enter into the central stage. There are many different booths waiting for all of you. I welcome all the citizens from Guangzhou to have a site visit. You can appoint it on the WeChat account, especially for the drill sessions between water and sky, in order to enable all of you to have a better takes. And I think at 11:15 minutes, and we are also in the afternoon, we are also going to have another drill and another performance. Do not miss it in the afternoon, and let's check about other different exciting activities. To celebrate the first National People's Police Day, we are going to open up the Guangzhou Police Bureau to the public day.
陈老师啊，您这次来到广州参加我们的首个警察节活动，您最大的感受是怎样的？
How do you feel by participating in this National People's Place Day in Guangzhou? As a civilian, as a general public, we have a lot of misunderstandings to the police officers' daily work. That's the reason why I have a lot of expectation today toward what are you going to do and what kind of high tech will you include. So before we are preparing this event, we find it that all the different police officers has give us a lot of high-tech equipment, which has enthralled even if ourselves. And we actually can give you a real good demonstration for our activity. For this part, the reason for us to organize these activities is to let the general public have a better understanding to our practice.
那我了解到这次的这个警开放日活动啊，我们一共有2个展区，然后有18种警种不同的一个体验。
There are 2 demonstration exhibition centers for this time, and there are 18 different police officers. And every year, according to the different requirements, we actually formed the new genres. We are going to enable more audience, much more audience to understand what are we doing here, because as a general public, we don't have a very clear understanding for what the police officer is doing. What we only understand is that if we have any difficulties in our daily life, we are going to call the police. It's actually based on our general practice and scenarios, and I believe that for the work of every single city, we are going to renovate the way we work. We are also going to let the big data and also high tech to work on the final miles to the general public. It is the yearly effort for the Guangzhou police officers. This is actually what we are seeing on the central stage. There are many people and also the family members for the police officers who is actually gathering here. Now on our right hand is actually a team who is responsible for the motor vehicles of a Guangdong Transportation Police Force.
已经有很多的观众了，已经很多观众进来在体验。
虽然今天只有9度的气温，但是我完全感觉不到寒冷，而且现在我们有很多的小朋友在这边啊。
所以说，其实对于小朋友来说，他们能参加这样一个活动也是。
Although it is only 9 degrees centigrade today, I can not feel the chillness. We generally have a lot of public activities to go to the schools, and for the traffic police officers, they have really emphasized the importance of the education to the public. This is what we have learned for the purple driving styles and also the DUIs. It's also going to implant an awareness in the children's head, and it's also going to let the parents understand better about DUI and also the safety driving. So it is actually a 4K image.
这是一个小朋友正在体验。
We could see a small kid is experiencing how to drive on the road.
看我们的同学在，
形象哈。
对，没错。
非机动车道，机动车道该怎么驾驶？
在活动开始之前的时候呢，我也在那个前面，我们可以
Before the event,
左边走一点，看到有一个模拟醉驾的一个展示区域。
let's turn to the left side. There is actually a demonstrative area for the DUI.
都是模拟真实的汽车的啊，这
And on that demonstrative area, the screens and also the operation bar is actually mimicking what is happening real.
危险驾驶发生交通事故，所以说啊，在遇到红绿灯
dangerous driving, there is actually a traffic accident. So when you are under DUI and driving in a very speedy mode, you need to check about the traffic light. So you have been really prepared really hard about that. It actually gives you a more direct perspective. Through forming that, after 35 years of forming that, on that open day, it's a rare occasion for all of us. We are going to give the general public our best images. I think prohibitions of the drug is also one important part for your work. And drug control is also important major force for major task for the police force. We should educate the general public about how to avoid the drug. We are going to let our colleagues to give you a better introduction of the drug prevention. On my right hand, there are some of the images of the different types of the drugs. We are going to let our experts to give you an introduction. So welcome to the work and the booth of the drug control police force. So we are here to demonstrate you all the different drugs targeting the young people and also the adolescents. Today we are actually working to educate the young people. Let's enter into our booth. This is actually the actual demonstrations of the different drugs which is being collected by the real case. We've been followed by the orders of the first generations of the drugs. This is the marijuana. This is actually a marijuana plant that we have digged from the marijuana farm. This is what we call a 7-leaf marijuana. This is actually the dried marijuana. Marijuana have a very special smell. You could sense that special smell belongs to marijuana. So if you are seeing this marijuana on the field, you can actually report to the police. It's a very strong and heavy smell. Some people think it's very nasty. And generally speaking, they have extracted the marijuana into the dry flower. This is actually the thickly made marijuana. using an instant noodle box.
都是你们现场缴获的一些食物是吧？
的缴获，这些都是我们案件当中现场缴获的食品。
This is what we have caught on the criminal side.
这一种毒品呢，就对我们青少年非常的有迫性。
这种是我们缴获的，它实际上呢
This is also very confusing for the young people. Actually, it is the gamma methylamphetamine. Sometimes people will think that it is one of the drinkage of one of the juice. Actually, it is a type of the drug.
谢谢。那我们看完这个镜头
Once you have inhaled, it's easy for you to lose your mind. I suggest all of you to stay far away from drugs. We are going to went to another exhibition area.
刑警支队
大家非常
性诈骗。
出名的这个刑警支队，也是可以看到我们现场的面前。
This is a very important and famous criminal team.
那么接下来呢，我们现场
Let's have a look for our lovely dogs. We're going to give the floor to our colleagues.
这个警犬在你们的这个工作当中扮演了什么样的角色？
其实他们就是
What kind of role is this
对，尤其
dog
像这两
playing
位
in
都
your
是
day-to-day
工作多
operation?
年的，尤其像右手边那个，我们叫它悠悠，它是我们的公安部的1级功勋犬。
So we call
它
the
头上所戴的这
uh,
个装备呢，
dog on the right hand as Yu. He is actually a level 1 police officer dog
还能够实现
registered at the Ministry of Public Security.
对，所以它就是我们的战友。
We can currently we are actually working on the remote control
右
of
边
the
那只已经左边这只已
dogs.
经5年了，右边那只也是差不多的几年，正值青壮年的时候。
是，那他们主要出现在一些什么样的任务现场？
他们主要呢就是搜索
And
路
also
证
the patrol
报
dogs.
排毒
They are the two of them. One of them is 3 years old, another is 5 years old. Are there any cases impresses you
其
most?
实是有的，但是呢，可能深刻的会比较多，不胜枚举，对，会比较多。
在你们工作中是经常要
对，经常都会
There are so many cases impresses me most.
收网过程以及我们的每一次的大型安保，我们的战友都是
The patrol dog actually helps a lot when we are trying to
在这里
conduct a large-scale
非常有你们这个
patrolling events.
对的，对的。
They are sitting here with a quite severe manner.
在那里做的很端正，迎接人民的检查，是这样子。
They are our colleague and our friends
他的这个展区去
who's
看，
also waiting for the
非常帅气。
welcoming and who's also protecting the general public.
尤其是刚才那个禁毒
Do you have new
是长什么样的？
is our introduction have refreshed your impression? Yes. So this is my first time to understand what marijuana looks like. I think I'm going to have a better and deeper understanding.
就是可以看到我们上方有一个招牌
Indeed,
支队，也就是刚才我们在水库
there is actually a
刚
hanging
刚有提到
here.
打
It is actually this is actually the subgroup to tackle against
比如说我们
smuggling.
打掉了一些成品油和这个走私冻肉的这样的一些。
We've been cracking on some of
接
the
下来呢，我们就可以
refined oil
支队来进行
and also some of the seafood. We are going to enter into this team to have a better understanding about the smuggling.
我们知道这个广州啊，它这个地理位置的原因，可能走私的这样一些
We all know because of the special location of Guangzhou,
对对对，是的，现在的
the climate is actually better,
这个走私冻品啊，
especially this year.
比较严峻的形势。
There are so many different smugglings of the frozen seafood and frozen food.
好，谢谢。好，我们这个今天的
Thank
警
you.
活动日呢，还有很多的
There are so many different activities
各位
today.
主要领导，我们的党委委员的集中亮相，在我们现场。
We are also going to witness
带大
the
家观摩一下。
we are going to see a lot of leaders from the public and police bureaus of the Guangdong police officers who are here to celebrate the first National Police Day. Let's move to the central stage. In our previous introduction, we've been mentioning about these celebrations for the birthday. We are going to invite the head of the police bureau to witness this birthday and cut the birthday cake. Just as I mentioned in the introduction, let's remember this special day. Let's remember this special moment. This is actually the police station that we have founded. In 1986, the first 110 dying police station. After 30 years, we are really working hard on this new journey. On this booth, it is actually demonstrating the hard work of Guangdong police officer. It's a very important channel to serve the general public. We also have a session to provide you the stimulations and also the live streaming. We also have a small kid who is also dressing like police officer to participate in today's event. Let me interview this kid. So I'm here with CMG. Can you tell me a little bit about what you are doing here?
和解放军，对对对，对对对，他爸爸也是警察。是的，是的。带宝宝一块来是吗？是的。
So her father is also a police officer. That's the reason why we have prepared. I'm 7 years old. I like the special suits. It's actually a special suit for the special forces of the policeman. My father is also a police officer. What do you want to say to them? I also want to become a police officer when I grew up. Do you know what day is it for today? The police officers festival. What do we do for the police officers festival to celebrate and congratulate
为什么会
the
喜欢
police
警察？
officers? Why do you like the professions of the police officers? Because my father is a police officer.
好好问一问。
Thank
请
you
问您是什么？
for being together with us.
我是监狱警察。是的。
那今天也是第一个警察节。
I'm actually a police officer working in
我
the
觉得今
a
天这个
prison.
节日对我们警察是一个比较重要的一个纪念日吧，因为平时。
Today is a very rare festival and it's also celebrating the different police officers. It's also emphasizing about the hard work of the police officers like us. I'm really thrilled. That's the reason why I brought my kids to be here to let her have a better understanding.
谢谢您辛苦啦，也祝您节日快乐。节日快乐。
Thank you very much.
哎，这个小朋友真的是
太可爱了，我都没有想到还有这么可爱的这个特警的这个服装哈。
对对对。那110这个展区呢，可以看到观众也非常多。
这说明大家对我们广州公安的110是非常的认可，非常的喜爱，也是给大家一个相互接触、见面的机会。
好，那我们现在目光呢转向我们的这个。
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to the police officers in Guangzhou.
现在也在进行一个非常精彩的表演哈。
对，现在为大家展现的是我们广州市公安局特警支队的拳棍术表演。对。
So here we are having a show from the police office team of the special force of the Guangdong Police Bureau.
特别是他们可以看到他们的身形啊，都是非常的强壮，也非常充满力量感。那我们看到的就是在现场的一个警的实战性这样一个特点。
说特警，在你们这个公安平常的工作当中，
是在执行一些